Hi guys, today we're going to go through how to fill out an L1 application. You should have your certificate of service and N4 ready to go. Okay, open up your Google browser and type in forms, fees, and filing. You're going to click on that link and you're going to scroll down and click on the forms, fees, and filing for Tribunals Ontario. Alright, you're going to have to scroll down until you see go to Tribunals Ontario portal. You're going to click on that and you're going to have to click on that again in a second here. Scroll down and you'll see, I don't know why you have to do that, but you have to do that every time. Okay, so I have an account, so I'm just going to type in my info, but if you need to create an account, you can do so. It's going to prompt you to do all that. So here you're going to click on create a new file, and that's going to start you a brand new file. You are the landlord, so you're going to do landlord, tenant board, and landlord. You're going to click L1, and then you're going to have a series of questions, and you're going to want to, is the tenant still in possession of the rental unit? Certificate of service has been completed. Is it a monthly basis? And how you serve the notice of termination. I always end up sliding it under the door if I can't hand it to the tenant in person, and I've never had any issues. All right. And yeah, you're going to go to next. You're going to scroll down and you want to read all of this, especially if it's your first time. But today, for the purpose of this, we're just going to go through the buttons you need to click. Okay, start application. So you're going to type in the postal code, and that should pull up an address. If not, you can type in the regular address. I apologize. I'm trying to remember the postal code. I'm a little tired. It's like 2 a.m. right now. January 2026. That might help you out to know if this is still a recent video. Anyways, we click on find address, click on Desjardins, and the street number you're going to have to type in, because the postal code will give you an area, right? So you're going to have to type in the street number and the unit number if applicable. Really, really important, by the way. So for some reason, whenever I set this up, it always gets my name wrong. So I always have to go through this, but it's always good to double check anyways. And if it's your first time, you're gonna have to fill out your information. This is the landlord's information. And in this scenario, mock scenario, we're evicting a tenant in the basement apartment. So it's the same address, right? And that's okay. And that's where the unit number is important. You're in unit 1. And you're evicting your tenant below you in unit 2. So 5163 Desjardins Drive, Burlington, Ontario. And you can see here we're putting unit 1. You gotta also put your email address and phone number. It auto-populates sometimes after you've done it before, but sometimes it doesn't. For some reason, it never auto-populates my phone number. And yeah, save. If there's another landlord, you would add them there where it says add another landlord and add another representative. Only add a landlord if it's on the lease. The people on the lease as the landlord, that's who you're adding on the L1. I do apologize if I forget something. You can always text me at 905-466-2023 if you have a question. Okay, so now we pulled up the tenant information. This fake tenant is named David Smith, so we're going to put in his legal first name and last name. And if the mailing address is the same as the rental unit, you can just click that box. If not, you will have to add this other address. So when you click that box, it auto-populates. And then contact information, if you have it, you should have it. When you fill out a lease and find a tenant, you always want to get their email address and phone number. It's just advantageous. So this is the fake email, obviously, davids@gmail.com. And I'm going to make up a phone number here. So when you are finding tenants, you do want to spend a lot of time, because some of this is a pain in the ass and it's a lot of work. So if there's another tenant, you would add them there. That's just if they're on the lease. If they have let someone live with them, you don't need to. Just whatever is on the lease is what you want to put there. So you're going to click L1, application evicted tenant for non-payment of rent, right there. So we're going to go back up, and so the tenant is required to pay rent monthly. What date did you serve the notice of termination? So we're going to pull up here's the N4, but this is the wrong one. We need the certificate of service, and I certify that on the 10th day of December 2025 I served them with the N4. So that's the date you put in there. Just scroll through the date, and we're going to click the 10th of December. And then it's going to ask you how you served it. And we're going to placing the document under the door. If I can't give it to the tenant by hand, I'm going to do that. So now we're looking at the termination date, just double checking on the N4 what we put. This is the document that we gave them. And then we're going to select the termination date there. It's good to have your N4 and certificate of service with you, and that way you can have someone else fill it out for you, and they can look at the rent on there too. So we're just double checking here, making sure the dates are right. You want to triple check everything. So current rent was $1,800. So we're going to type that in there. It won't let you put a $sign. You don't need to put a dollar sign, just in case you're curious. So we're going to go back up to this section where if you collected a rental deposit afterwards. So we're going to add a rental period. All right. If you do have a weird, like you started it on the 2nd and ended it on the 1st, you're just going to type that in there. But I always try to start things on the 1st of the month and end it on the end of the month for reasons like this. It simplifies it. It doesn't confuse anyone. And normally, if something's wrong, you will get an email from the LTB saying that you cannot submit this document. And they will request certain changes. So rent charged $1,800, and let's say they paid $400. I think on the N4 we had $400, right? And it doesn't matter what month they paid. If they didn't pay in November, until they've paid $1,800, you do not move on to December. So let's say they paid $1,200, it'll auto-calculate the $600. But let's say since November they've paid $2,000, right? So you'll end up putting in 18 here, and then you're going to put 200 on the next rental period. So this rental period is going to be from December 1st to December 31st, right? Rent charge is $1,800, and we're gonna put 200 there, right? If they paid 200 in January, you put the 200 there, just because you just fill up the oldest month. All right, so you can keep adding rental periods I'm normally fast with my N4s and eviction processes just because I've learned the hard way. And I don't know exactly how many you can add. If I would love for you, if someone does know, put it in the comments below. But here, we're going to go ahead and fill out January 1st. Now, I think today is like January 28th or something like that. You put the rental period for the month, January 1st to January 31st, not the 28th. That's what they're charged for, even though it's due on the 1st. All right. We're just verifying everything's correct. Taking our time here. Do not rush this. There's no point. Okay, and we're going to add, you can add more rental periods. I'm just showing you here. And it won't let you add another one until you fully filled this out. All right, so we're going to remove this rental period because we're still in January. Now, we're going to have to upload some files. The first file is going to be your N4, and then you need your certificate of service. So, I'm going to adjust the screen so you can see. This is how I like to upload it. Now, you can select a file. I always find it's easier just to drop and drag because then you know it's that file. Sometimes you have like 2 or 3 copies and you don't know. So we're going to put these over here and we'll move that over here and we'll upload the file. So now, type of document. Here we're going to select the N4. We'll do the N4 first and then simply just drag, click and drag. And you'll get a green check mark like that. Add document. And then that's done. So then we got to go back to upload files. Document type, certificate of service. And we're going to upload that. I don't know why that did that. I don't think it took. There's some other stuff you have to fill out here. So the method of service, landlord who gave the notice. I always recommend doing it yourself. Placing the document under the door, landlord, and when was the N4 given. And if it's not the N4, but like in this scenario, it's an N4 where then that's what it's asking, the notice form served. So we're going to select that date. Always read everything if you're unsure. And a lot of the times, the answers are right there and it's fairly obvious. Anyways. I'm just double checking the date. And right there again, I certify on the 10th day of December 2025. And then it didn't take. You'll get a green check mark. Click and drag. Yep. And that time it took. It might have been because I needed to answer those questions first. I don't know. Now, I'm not an expert at this. I typically do around 2 evictions for non-payment of rent a year. So I'm just under 30 units. All right. So we're going to go back up to the top. Here. I'm just adjusting the screen. Okay. Slowly review everything. Okay, so we're gonna put yes for the tenant still in possession. You can't fill out an L1 if they aren't. Okay, so how much deposit did you collect from the tenant? You're gonna put the amount of deposit you collected. In this scenario, it's $1,800. When did you collect the rent deposit? So let's say they started their tenancy on August 1st. You might have collected the rent deposit on July. For example, in this scenario, we're going to use the tenancy started on August 1st, 2024, and we're going to put the 15th was when the deposit was collected. The last period for which the tenant was paid interest on this deposit. So you pay interest each year. So we're going to go from August 1st, 2024 to July 31st, 2025. You'll see me click here. Now, there are other scenarios. You can always text me your scenario and I can give you a guidance. In complicated scenarios, if the tenant is trying to be pushy, I do recommend using a paralegal. Like, for example, they're seem knowledgeable. They could be a career tenant, and in that scenario, you're going to want to use a paralegal. Okay, so now we're simply reviewing everything, making sure everything looks right, making sure there's nothing missing, going over some dates. Everything appears to be in good shape. So we're going to go save L1 and continue. So then there's a reason for application. And yes, save and continue. Save and next. So after you press save and continue, you got to press save and next. And now it's review. So we're going to review everything we wrote, which is a brief description. Double check your dates. Just make sure that you have the certificate of service and N4. And you're going to certify that the best of your knowledge it's accurate. Applicant name, Carter. You're going to click yes to each of these. You're just certifying that it's an offense and you're aware. Obviously, read these if it's your first time. This is not my first time. I'm not lying. I'm not out to get anyone. I just want my rental unit to be exchanged for the money I agreed to. Okay, the final step is the pay application. Online credit card or debit. Press continue. Make payment. And you're going to type in your information. Name on card, card number. We've all been through this. Fairly simple. After you click submit payment, you're going to get a confirmation email in the email you provided. You're also going to get another email prompting you to book your trial date. Now, this email sometimes arrives 48 hours, 72 hours. I've had it as quick as 4 hours.